Welcome to my YouTube channel, AutoMark. Today, we're exploring one of the most powerful symbols of American military might and global power projection, the USS Nimitz and her sister ships of the Nimitz-class aircraft carriers. These massive warships represent floating cities and air bases combined, capable of deploying overwhelming military force anywhere in the world's oceans. As we move through 2026, these nuclear-powered supercarriers continue to serve as the backbone of the United States Navy's ability to maintain presence and influence across the globe. The Nimitz-class aircraft carriers were designed in the late 1960s as the next generation of American supercarriers, building upon lessons learned from earlier carriers. The lead ship, USS Nimitz, was laid down in 1968 and commissioned into service in May 1975. Named after Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, the legendary World War II commander, the ship set the standard for a class that would eventually include 10 carriers built over more than 3 decades. The final Nimitz-class carrier, USS George H.W. Bush, was commissioned in 2009, representing nearly 40 years of continuous production and incremental improvements to the basic design. What makes the Nimitz-class carriers truly remarkable is their sheer size and capability. Each carrier is approximately 1,092 feet long, roughly as long as the Empire State Building is tall. The flight deck covers 4.5 acres, providing space for launching and recovering aircraft while also parking dozens of fighters, attack aircraft, helicopters, and support planes. The ships displace over 100,000 tons when fully loaded, making them among the largest warships ever built. Despite this massive size, the carriers can reach speeds exceeding 30 knots, allowing them to keep pace with or outrun most other vessels. The heart of a Nimitz-class carrier is its propulsion system. 2 Westinghouse A4W nuclear reactors provide virtually unlimited range and endurance. These reactors generate enough power not only to propel the massive ship, but also to operate all its systems, including catapults, elevators, radar, communications, and life support for over 5,000 personnel. The nuclear fuel cores last approximately 25 years before requiring replacement, meaning a carrier can steam hundreds of thousands of miles without refueling. This nuclear propulsion eliminates the need to carry fuel oil for the ship itself, freeing up internal volume for aviation fuel, weapons, and supplies to support air operations. The air wing embarked aboard a Nimitz-class carrier typically consists of 60 to 85 aircraft depending on mission requirements. A standard air wing includes FA-18E/F Super Hornet strike fighters, EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft, E-2D Hawkeye early warning aircraft, C-2 Greyhound transport planes, and MH-60 Seahawk helicopters for various support roles. Some carriers also operate CMV-22B Osprey tilt-rotor aircraft for carrier onboard delivery missions. This diverse air wing provides the carrier strike group with capabilities ranging from air superiority and strike warfare to electronic attack, surveillance, anti-submarine warfare, and search and rescue. The flight deck operations aboard a Nimitz-class carrier are a carefully choreographed ballet of constant motion. 4 steam catapults, 2 on the bow and 2 on the angled deck, can launch aircraft at intervals of less than 1 minute. Each catapult uses steam from the ship's reactors to accelerate a 50,000-pound aircraft from 0 to 165 miles per hour in just 2 seconds across a distance of approximately 300 feet. Simultaneously, other aircraft are landing on the angled deck, catching one of 4 arresting wires with their tailhooks to stop from a landing speed of around 150 miles per hour to 0 in just 320 feet. Now let's discuss the enormous costs associated with these floating fortresses. The construction cost of a Nimitz-class carrier varied considerably depending on when each ship was built. USS Nimitz cost approximately $4.5 billion in 1970s money, which would be roughly $25 to $30 billion adjusted for inflation to 2026. Later ships in the class cost progressively more due to inflation and improvements. USS George H.W. Bush, the final Nimitz-class carrier, cost approximately $6.2 billion when commissioned in 2009, equivalent to about $8.5 to $9 billion in 2026 currency. However, the construction cost represents only a portion of the total life cycle expense. Operating and maintaining a Nimitz-class carrier costs approximately $500 to $700 million per year. This includes personnel costs for the roughly 3,200 ship's company and 2,480 air wing personnel, fuel for the embarked aircraft, maintenance, repairs, and supplies. Over a 50-year service life, a single carrier can cost well over $30 billion in total life cycle expenses when you include construction, operations, and eventual decommissioning. The midlife refueling and complex overhaul, known as RCOH, represents another massive expense. This process occurs roughly halfway through a carrier's service life and takes about 4 years to complete. The ship enters a shipyard where workers cut into the hull to remove and replace the reactor fuel cores, a process that can only be done once in the ship's lifetime. While the reactors are accessible, the Navy also conducts extensive modernization of virtually every system aboard the ship. The RCOH costs approximately $3 to $4 billion per carrier and essentially rebuilds the ship to serve another 25 years. The defensive systems aboard a Nimitz-class carrier are sophisticated despite the ship's primary reliance on its escorts and aircraft for protection. Each carrier is equipped with RIM-116 rolling airframe missile launchers for short-range defense against anti-ship missiles and aircraft. The ships also carry RIM-7 Sea Sparrow missiles and close-in weapon mounts featuring rapid-fire phalanx guns that can engage incoming missiles at very close range. However, the carrier's true defense lies in its accompanying strike group, which typically includes guided missile cruisers and destroyers equipped with the Aegis system, attack submarines, and the carrier's own aircraft that can engage threats hundreds of miles away. The strategic value of aircraft carriers has been debated extensively, particularly as potential adversaries develop anti-ship ballistic missiles and other systems designed specifically to target carriers. China's DF-21D and DF-26 anti-ship ballistic missiles, sometimes called carrier killers, represent a significant threat in the Western Pacific. However, carriers remain unmatched for projecting sustained air power in regions far from friendly air bases. During crises, the question asked by American presidents is often, where are the carriers? Because these ships represent immediately available military options. As of 2026, the United States Navy operates 10 Nimitz-class carriers, with the oldest, USS Nimitz herself, approaching 51 years of service. The Navy is gradually transitioning to the newer Gerald R. Ford-class carriers, which features significant improvements, including electromagnetic aircraft launch systems, advanced arresting gear, and more efficient reactor designs. Thank you for watching AutoMark, and subscribe for more military technology content.